Bill Duncan Sr. I know you're here. You give everything you know. Congrats. Well done. And Dan Hart. Where's Dan? Again, turning your picks before we depart, if you'd like to be eligible to win. By the way, the prep game of the week on WSLA 1560 AM is Salmon and McMain. WSLA also carries Ken Trahan's original prep football report surrounding their game. We're on 6 to midnight every Friday night on WGSO 990 AM with the top prep coverage in the state. Our R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl, sportsnola.com, WGSO 990 AM, and WGNO TV, ABT's 26th Prep Player of the Week for week number 3 is the first time we've ever done this. A kicker and punter, Michael McCarthy of Brother Martin High School. McCarthy set a school record with 5 field goals. He went 5 for 5 on field goals, which Tom would appreciate. Kicked field goals of 40, 36, 35, 28, and 28 yards. He made all 3 of his extra points for 18 total points. He also punted once for 38 yards as the Crusaders down St. Augustine 36 to 22. He's coached by Mark Bonice, and Michael McCarthy will be honored at our year-end luncheon of the New Orleans Quarterback Club, second week of December. Congratulations to Michael McCarthy. And there's no truth to the rumor that we picked a kicker because Tom's here today, okay? Just want to make sure we clear that up before we go any further. Our first speaker today is in his 3rd year as the head coach of the West Jefferson Buccaneers with a record of 20 and 13 overall. He's taken the Buccaneers to the state playoffs in 2 consecutive seasons. West Jefferson's off to a great start. They're 2-0, ranked 3rd in the state in Class 5A right now, following a 21-14 win over their arch rival, John Ehret, this past Friday night. West Jefferson will host Helen Cox this coming Friday night at Hoss-Memphis Stadium. Please give a warm Quarterback Club welcome to West Jefferson coach Marcus Scott. Marcus?
Hello. On behalf of the Jefferson Parish Public School System, our football program in West Jefferson High School, I would like to thank the Quarterback Club for allowing me to come and speak here today. I would also like to recognize the Athletic Director of Jefferson Parish Public Schools, Mr. Manny Baracco. Thank you for coming. But just to give a brief history of how we got to this point. I'm originally from New Orleans. I played at Jesuit High School, and I graduated in 1995. After that, I went on to play at McNeese State. After finishing college, I finished with a business degree, and I really thought that I wanted to go into business. But then I got a phone call to coach at a local high school, Clark High School, in the city of New Orleans, and I really, really wanted to do it. I've been influenced by so many great coaches throughout my lifetime. One that comes to mind in particular is Al Ott, who coached me at Card Junior High for 3 years, and he's really been an influence in my life as a student as well as an adult. So. After college, I spent 1 year at J.S. Clark, obviously, and then went on for 3 years at Jesuit as a coach, 3 years in Texas, in a small town called Rosenberg. And in 2007, we came back to New Orleans area and spent 1 year as an assistant under Coach Hank Tierney, who's now the head coach at Ponchatoula High School. Well, the summer of 2008, I get a phone call from Coach Hank, and he says, "I'm leaving. Do you want the job?" And I was shocked, but I said, "Yeah, I definitely would like the opportunity." So, it came to the interview process, and I was fortunate enough to get this job at West Jefferson. And it's been a roller coaster. You can prepare to be a head coach, but you just never know all of the different things that come your way with, in the course of a week, a month, a year. So since that time, 2008, we've been fortunate enough to win 2 out of 3 state district championships and post a 13-1 district record. This year, we're very excited to begin our 4th season. This senior class is my first class. So when I got the job, they were freshmen. So it was going to be my first senior class when we came in. And they're now starting to understand how to play with expectations. Obviously, we have a long way to go. The season is just getting started. But, we're off to a fast start. And, the kids are really buying into, the philosophy and the things that we're trying to teach and preach on and off the field. And so it's really, with the fast start, is really starting to see the difference throughout the school, the student body, the excitement with the staff and the teachers. So this year, we actually are pretty young on offense. We have one skill player who's a senior, and he happens to be our leader. His name is Patrick Bethany, and he'll be a college player next fall. And on defense, we're very young, so we have a number of seniors on offense and on defense as well. And we basically don't have many standouts. There's one kid who's a college player on that team, but on the defensive side of the ball. But the main thing is that the kids understand that it's a team sport. It's not based upon how good an individual is. Actually, last week, I guess Eric, our starter at quarterback, went down at the beginning of the 4th quarter, actually in the middle of the 4th quarter, and we had a guy who came in and really kind of sparked the win for us. His name is David Davis. He's a junior. Well, that kid demonstrated the type of attitude and leadership that we expect from a student athlete. He was beat out in fall camp by a sophomore. When we needed him, he didn't sulk, he didn't complain, he had the right attitude, he worked hard on and off the field. And when his team needed him, he came in and provided the spark that we needed to go on to win obviously a big game anytime you talk about West Jefferson area. So, we really look forward to competing for the rest of the season. And like I mentioned to Mr. Barrios earlier, we really, are taking the approach. I know it's a cliche, but one week at a time. But it's easier said than done. So I've done some things with the staff, et cetera, to eliminate any type of urge, if you will, to look ahead to the next opponent. So, our goal is to put everything into, competing this week and being the best student athletes that we can be this week in the classroom, and being the best people in the community that we can be this week. And then we deal with injuries and issues later on. Whatever we have left over from these games, we piece it together, and then we focus on the next week. And so that's basically been the approach that we've taken, and so far so good. And obviously it's a long season, but we look forward to competing and trying to bring the program back to the level that the level of success that Mr. Barrios and others come before us have enjoyed. I want to end with a small story, and it's about the late Henry Crosby. I was an assistant, like I said, before my wife and I moved to Texas. I was leaving, and a friend of mine said, "Hey, I want you to meet somebody." I said, "Okay." He said, "You never guess who it is." I said, "Okay, who is it?" He said, "Coach Crosby." I said, "Well, what is he doing?" He said, "He's teaching PE at Eric at the time." So I said, "Sure, I would love to meet him. It'd be an honor." Well, I got his phone number, and we talked, and we met at a Denny's one morning, talked football and life and X's and O's for about 3 hours, seemed like. And so, little did I know that 4 years later that I would be the head coach at West Jefferson. And it's just funny how that happened. But he was able to give a lot. He actually took a timeout, which he didn't have to do, to speak to a young coach. I didn't have a title. I didn't have a name. He was just gracious enough to take time out to meet with me and to kind of guide and mold me, give me advice on several situations, because I had he looked at my notebook. I had a pad full of questions for him. He sat there patiently and he answered everything. And I was very, very grateful that he was able to take the time out with me to do so. So, again, I would like to thank you on behalf of West Jefferson High School for having me. You guys have a nice afternoon, I'm sorry. Things run together. It's the season. My wife always talks about, complains about I'm not being home and stuff like that. So forgive me if I'm a little off right here. So, but I appreciate it anyway, and I'll have a good one.
Any questions? Anybody have any questions? Randy's got the microphone. Just raise your hand. Right over here.
Well, I was wondering, Coach, you have been through several programs you mentioned, as well as coaching. Today, the kids that you're coaching versus previous programs you played, what's the greatest challenge your team today in dealing with these kids at high school level? In terms of their conflicting motivations at school, or keeping them focused,
Well, honestly, I think as the years go on, I start to see the difference when the kids actually have so much more to do. The kids have so many more options. You know, the kids are very, very fortunate. You know, even the kids who are considered financially strapped, these kids have iPhones and iPods, and it's just a different generation that we deal with. It's not like, you know, even 5 years ago when the kids, you know, really, they had less, so they had less distractions. So I think that's basically the big difference. And whether it's Texas, whether it's in the Catholic League, whether it's in Jefferson Parish Public Schools, all the coaches that I talk to, they basically deal with the same issues. So it's not necessarily bad, it's just different.
Anyone else?
If there's nothing else, thank you very much.